DJing is sort of how you can feel the beat, how you can keep it going on, connecting with people on a higher emotional level, and being able to build upon that, and communicating with people through how you perceive them and the music that you give them.
To me, hip hop is like a culture, a way of life, lifestyle. I mean, it's the way that I have my gear on, it's the way that I talk, the way that I walk. My political views are hip hop. My mind is hip hop. My being is hip hop. It's kind of like a religion.
When I started learning about the whole hip hop stuff, it was like, okay, here's a goal I can go towards, or here's a circle that I can try to become a part of. Just sort of gave a little bit more of a focus to what I was doing, I guess. Gave it a structure.
All music that comes from oppressed populations, blues, jazz, are therapy for the people that are in this population.
We have a lot of enthusiasm for what we're doing. We're not trying to outsmart anybody or seem super clever.
There's 5 or 6 things going on at the same time. You might get pissed off, you might like it, you might hate it, you might love it, you might want to buy it for your kids. But mainly, I don't give a fuck if you listen to it or don't, because I do it for me up here.
It just popped into my head, Stink Tank. And I called the dude up. I was like, yo, what about Stink Tank? And he was quiet for a second. He's like, I like it. And then we'd be hanging out and he'd just say it randomly, just be like sitting there. And it stuck. We went with it.
Microphone, never ever battling. Got into a battle one time, never go back again. Maybe one time to get my shit crackling. That's my man Mantis on the left, he got the beats though.
My name is Mitch Pond, aka Man Mantis. I'm 20 years old. I'm from Denver, Colorado, but I've been in Madison for about 3 years now. I am a DJ and a producer as well. My DJ typically is something you would find in a live setting, taking records, taking other people's music, mixing it together in a way that keeps a beat going so that people can continue to dance. And a producer is the person who will make up the beats for the rappers.
My name is Ladu Manguyuza. That's Ladu with a long I sound, kind of like fa la 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 duma. I am from planet Earth. I was born in Johannesburg, South Africa. Right now I live in Madison, Wisconsin. I am a student. I am a writer, a hip-hop performer.
Trying to not be old and be up and insane.
I chose to come here to Madison, Wisconsin. Lord knows why I chose to come to Madison, Wisconsin. I would really love to be somewhere else. I think Madison is not as diverse as it needs to be. There aren't enough brown people around. That's detrimental for white people, for black people, for all people. You gotta be able to have different types of folks around you. And Madison just doesn't offer that shit.
I was making music with computers and records as early as the 5th grade. My first quote-unquote record collection would have been just a crate that I picked out of the closet, and I set up an old turntable. By the time I was a freshman in high school, I had started buying my own records.
It was getting down in the 80s. The Roaches.
It's pronounced the Roche.
No, it's the Roaches. Roaches.
Pretty sure it's the Roche.
It's the Roaches, though. Roaches.
What is?
That's it. The Roaches.
You heard it
I
here.
can't spell. I write the rhymes. How you gonna tell me you make the beats, son? Tell me how to spell.
Sometimes I'll buy records that are crap, that are just bad records that I've never listened to. And song 2 on side B at the very beginning has 13 seconds where it's really cool, and then it goes to being bad, and the whole rest of the record is bad. But it's worth it, it's worth paying $10 for that record because you get something out of it. I would say in my lifetime I've probably spent $2,000 or $3,000 on records. A well-rounded producer has a bunch of different records of all different kinds. I like to have a melody. A melody is very important to me. I like to have lots of different instruments. I like organic instruments. I like the strings, horns, stuff like that. Something that sounds like maybe there's some weird funky band in some back closet somewhere.
I've been writing like my thoughts down since I was very little. I was 9 or 10 years old. I started writing rhymes when I was about 15 years old, and then something happened to me. Just like with all things, a woman got involved. Changed my life completely because she, and a combination of other things, thrusted me into a very deep depression where I was second guessing myself, second guessing what am I doing on this planet, what am I doing here, why doesn't she love me, all these sob stories. So then I took an attempt at my life. And that night, my sister found out, and my parents were crying, and they sent me to the hospital, and mental institutions, medication, the whole 9 yards. So when I was 16 years old, I really started writing rhymes in my journals, and I found out that I felt the best, absolute best when I was doing that. I decided to stop going to therapy. I decided to stop the fucking Zoloft, which was a horrible, horrible drug. I stopped doing all that and decided to do therapy on my own, and I found that through hip hop. I got multi-layered personalities. When I came to Madison and started rapping in front of people, I kind of put that away because I didn't think that anyone would understand it. It's been really bottled and locked up for a long time. Now, I've taken the liberty to just be as extreme as I can with these characters. All right, I'll start from the beginning. Mr. Parker was the first persona that I publicly came out with.
Parker is dead. He's gone. No more. R.I.P. Mr. Parker.
About 2 or 3 months after I met Mantis, killed Mr. Parker and decided to open up the world to these other characters that I have. So the first one that came out was Doodoo Stinks. And people always ask me, why would you name yourself Doodoo Stinks? One, Doodoo is what people used to call me all the time when I was a kid. And I used to hate that shit so bad. They would call me Doodoo all the time. So that's why I picked it. And Stinks, I thought it was funny, actually, when I picked it. So I told my little sister about it, and she put it this way. She said, well, Doodoo Stinks to me is like shit stinks. And what you write about, sometimes offensive and sometimes it's not. And sometimes you can get it and sometimes you don't, but mostly it's just, it's just real. And sometimes shit stinks.
I still don't have that beat, but that's all right. We can still rock it.
I met La Duma a long time after I first knew who he was. Something set him apart in my mind and made me set this goal that was like, all right, if I can get that guy on my beat, then, I'll be the shit.
Mitch emailed me a rack of times before I even responded to him. I really wasn't feeling anything besides myself at the time. It was a very low point in my life, and I didn't pay him any mind.
I actually just sent him something, just was like, all right, here's a beat, I'm gonna send it to you, you can do whatever you want, you can listen to it, you can steal it, you can blow me off, whatever.
Hey yo, my name is Mitch, that beats. I don't mean to bug you, but I'm sitting on some hot shit and I want to start working with people. I don't want to fuck around. And this is Mitch being serious, he doesn't want to fuck around. I want to work with the best. I know you're busy, but here's a sample to show you I'm serious. And then he sent me this beat. The name of the song is Drinks, and it's the song about Doodoo Stinks and his possibility of being a suspect in Mr. Parker's death. So it ended up being actually very serendipitous. When we started making music together, I got all these ideas to do all these characters. And we took a walk one time, and I was like, yo man, I don't want to trip you out, but I really think that I see the world in many different ways. I think that my mind actually goes into other places. And he acquiesced, because he's got a couple different characters in himself too. So we decided that we're gonna give it a try. There's some, we might write some songs that have to do with one character, maybe a song that do with other characters. And at the inception of it, it was such a small, little, cool idea that I never thought it would get to the point where I'm actually writing for these different characters.
So how do you feel before the show?
A little nervous.
A little bit nervous?
First time that we played venue of this size.
For me, performing live on stage, I have a good time on stage. I've had a good time on stage for a long time.
You wanna hear some hip-hop lyrics? Yo, I said what's fucking at you, Canadian pop post-millennial. Adrenaline be sending them the sections of the intro. Souls trap purgatory gory when I'm sticking them. Catch another glimpse of them, blinking you be missing them. Whispering and listening, the corners hot and blistering. Paint unfelt thus far by the mixable. If it only knew how luck kept the kicking them, these niggas should be pushing them a fairy tale fiction. Park easy. easy. Quick spark and talk greasy. You don't wanna cross the schizo. Believe me, rude boys might control. So completely attached to the back of my head. Where the trees be, where the sleeves be. Milky Way's keys be trapped in my orbit. Planet screen, release me. The girl